Hey guys, it's Avenger, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at Justflight's latest professional series aircraft, the F28 1000. Now this regional airliner is available in 4 models, we'll show you here, with many liveries in fact, most specific to the variation. Now there's the 1000, 2000, 3000 and 4000 models, and this is developed after the successful F27 Friendship turboprop. It's the Dutch manufacturer's first venture into jet or turbojet powered airliner markets, and it has the Rolls-Royce Spey engines, I should say. The 1000 seating 50-ish to various numbers up to about 85 in the 4000, and they first flew in 1968. So there's bigger expansions, bigger versions of fuselage, of course, had different variants, different size capacities, and they use the MK555-15 Speys as their power plant. Now, there are still some of these being used even in the mid-2020s, so they do still exist. Now, the simulation for Justflight's one is based on Papa Hotel Charlie Hotel November, which is a 4000 model, originally delivered to NLM City Hopper, which is preserved at the Fokker Technical College in the Netherlands as operational, which is cool. Now, this aircraft is £52 on the Justflight website, which is a steep price, but it's a full simulation airliner, so it's relatively valid in terms of numbers there. Now, we have numerous various systems, full systems depth to this aircraft, lots of functionality, as you saw, plenty of liveries and variants. Let's take a look at this thing, shall we? Because it's comprehensive, as is the manual. So we're going to go to the cockpit first, because I want to first, whilst it decides it wants to have FPS. I do enjoy having FPS in my game. So we'll quickly go to the aircraft page of the EFP. Now we're going to open up these various doors here and turn on various options, because this is what I want to show on the outside when we go for a quick look around. Okay, so let's slow my camera down and we'll go take a look at the aircraft. Exterior texturing and modelling is gorgeous, really, really well done. The detail level is phenomenal. No, go away, Siri. Shush, shush. I don't know why Siri just activates herself sometimes when I'm talking. It's like it hears a word that's almost like Siri, and I remember that Apple is spying on me. I'm leaving that in the video. I don't care. Stop spying on me, Apple. Got our ground power truck here, which is what's producing all that sound. Cargo hatches open, although quite contained and small. Let's go up inside, shall we? Into the galley, the forward galley. Obviously, we've got all the various functionalities here, and yeah, you can click the cockpit click buttons through this. You can't actually click any of these things, so wouldn't try. Cockpit door will open. We've got our air stair here. A little forward air stair at least. Passenger compartment. In this one, this is a 1000 model, so look at about 50 passengers. 3 rows here, 2 there. Our exit rows. And aft we have the lavatory, which isn't simulated, unfortunately. No poop for you. And a small area possibly for crew rest. I'm not sure. I don't know the internal layout. Oh, it's storage most likely of first aid. Fire extinguishers and other ones. So that would be what's in there. So, of course, another cargo compartment back here. Detailing is very nice. The chocks are a nice touch. You don't often see those on airliner mods. So it's cool to have that. Now let's go take a look at that cockpit again, and we'll have a further look at the tablet. I'm going to do quite a bit of looking around once we get airborne for this one, because it's a complex aircraft, and we're going to head to Valdez, which is only about 10 minutes up the coast. So obviously we have our passenger configurations and numbers here, with different modes, cold and dark, ready for takeoff, turnaround. We have announcements.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
Would like to pilot voice difference for that, but you know, we could accept it. I'll pretend I have a first officer.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
Cabin crew having released to begin their service, but please note that the seatbelt sign is still on.
Yes, we release the cabin crew from the jail we keep them in.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check. Cabin crew, doors to manual and cross-check.
So let's close up our hatches here. We'll leave ground power on for now. But if we go back to the main menu, Obviously, we have map functionality, which is wonderfully useful. Obviously, modern EFBs do typically have this, like Garmin Pilot. So that's cool. You can use that if you want to. We have full checklists. Now, it's kind of dim, isn't it? This is my first gripe that I have with the aircraft. I don't have many, but it's my first gripe. Is the brightness is quite low. This is full. We have themes, which make it mildly brighter. Light mode is easier to see somehow, which I hate that light mode is easier to see because, dear God, I hate light mode. But there you go. Obviously, slightly easier to see, but still kind of difficult. There's not enough contrast, basically. So dark mode would be better if there was contrast, which there is not, unfortunately. So we'll leave it on that one for now. Obviously, we have a notepad here. Again, kind of dark. Not a lot of contrast. Don't really like it. Wait a second. You can draw on it. That's cool. Little face. I've drawn water here now, so I have to have a guy in a little canoe rowing his boat. We'll give him a paddle. There we go. It's art. Somebody would buy that for money. Anyway, obviously we have chart functionality, which you can tap in with Navigraph. And we also have your SimBrief connection here as well. Great compatibility there, like that. Top of descent calculator. And of course you saw the various settings. So there's a lot more complexity. There's a whole manual separate for the EFB alone, which is great. Justflight do a good job with those. Now, cockpit-wise, there are some options here. Now, those you could find under settings. No, under aircraft, sorry. The cog there, and you can configure things. You can have the hush kit on it. You can have GPS navigation on or off. If we have it off, you have a weather radar there. I'm putting mine on because that's a cool feature to have. The HF antenna. We have different options for gauge refresh rates, auto cabin crew, GPWS callouts. All those other functions we want to have. We can even turn off the interior cabin if we really want to. I'll turn it off. We'll see what happens. Oh, I turn off the interior cabin and I potentially gain like 5-6 FPS. Didn't seem to have much effect for me, but we'll put it back on again. Yeah, so brightness at full. That's one change I'd like to see them do, is to increase brightness because it's not enough. A lot of the text on other pages is hard to read, whereas here a lot of the stuff is quite easy to see, so that's not a big deal. Obviously, with other functions it can be. Take a look outside real quick. Yep, there's the hush kit on the engines. Cool to see. Okay, so let's get this thing started up. Obviously, a lot of the systems and functionality is complicated. It's an airliner, and it's not the era of modern simplistic. Wrong button. That was shift, not control. Obviously, we have our electricals. We turn them on up here. Those are up there. And then we have our heat bleed systems. We have everything else. Now, one cool part of this aircraft is the hydraulics, because control hydraulics there are needed to actually operate the controls. Because if you look here, we have gust locks are on. So I'll move the armrest up there. Gust locks are off. Do note that one. Don't try and take off without your gust locks on. Notice how sluggish this is. Manual control. Yes. Because if I go third person, you'll notice we are getting deflection, but very slow. That's because it has multi-layer control redundancy in its flight systems, in that you have hydraulic actuators that assist the pilot. The controls can get very sloppy if you're using purely manual and or control tab driven flight controls. So you'll see here I'll roll the ailerons and I don't get much, if any, real control beyond those control tabs. You'll see them there. See that little tab? That is all the control we get, basically, in case we need something. Now, that picking up airflow will move the whole control surface, which is useful. But, essentially, if you're in trouble, you've got something. So, this idea is a redundancy there. So, quite a clever design to the aircraft. Now, I'm not going to waste your time and do a full system run through the startup. There are airliner jocks who are far more intelligent than I, who will take you through all of that, and we're going to get ready for takeoff. Because I'm not an airliner jock. I will be learning this aircraft, though, because I really find it kind of cool. And it's the era that I quite like, in that it's much more manual. Look at that instrument panel. It's a 6-pack and engine instruments. It's great. I love it. So we'll let the aircraft run through its startup procedure here, and you'll notice buttons and things clicking themselves as the aircraft gets itself ready to go. in that it is actually going through the startup procedures. You'll notice various switches being thrown and settings being turned on. APU is being engaged right now, or should be being engaged. Now you'll notice I have a dog, yes. I have the Got Friends best friend mod in. I'm very happy with this. My K9 Copilot is the best thing ever. Cabin door, obviously kind of nice to have. Era before they were high security locks, of course. So the aircraft's running through its startup now. You notice the fuel get introduced there on number 2. And you'll hear our engine starting up. So it's a full manual start, just an automatic, rather than just it turns everything on and gets ready to go. It's as if you told your co-pilot, hey, start us up. Which makes me feel a little less terrible about the whole idea. Annunciator's there. Now we have got our floodlights, of course, which we can turn on there. Let's make it nighttime and see how it looks. Plenty of floodlight. We can turn that down. We wouldn't want that much brightness. Full dark. We can have that side controlled by the pilot side, obviously. But the instrument light up's rather nice, I must say. Prepare for a flashbang. There we go. Wonderful. Engine 1 is starting up for us now. Tablet control, by the way, is this air vent here. So because it's on and off, we'll leave it off for now. And as we get everything else ready to go here, we should be good. Now, it remembers where you last had various settings, so that's ready for takeoff with our takeoff flaps set where we want them to be. And we're going to do a little quick jaunt to Valdez, which isn't very far up the coast, but it will give us a more of a better impression of how the thing flies. Now, I don't appear to have... Interesting. I don't appear to have Valdez actually listed there, which is unfortunate. Let's quickly pop this up and check the map, which doesn't show any aircraft locations on it, unfortunately. Valdez would be up here, basically. Well, it seems to be struggling a second, so we'll leave that for now. It does quite like loading, doesn't it? No, Valdez is there, I think, or is it here? No, it's there. No, that's Anchorage. Ignore me. I'm blind and stupid. Let's leave that there. Let's get rid of that, and let's close that off. Right, so we should be all nice and ready and started up now. We're gonna get ourselves ready for taxi here, and I quickly need to Google Valdez's ICO, which is Papa Alpha Victor Delta. I should have known that one. We'll quickly plug that into our GPS system here. We'll direct to PA VD. Everyone knows a good VD. Okay, we're programmed. That's nice and simple. We're just going to VFR this thing today. Again, so much layers of complexity to this aircraft in terms of functionality. Literally everything is controllable. Also, you'll notice how free our controls are now. And if we third person this thing, full control functionality of the aircraft with the hydraulic actuators assisting. Sounds very nice as well, I must add. Okay, so let's make sure we actually have everything turned off, including the chocks, which would be a good idea. They are away, ground power's away, we're good to go. Okay. So parking brake is released. Or that was on. Let's give the engine some juice and get it rolling here. So seat belts are on, smoking's on. Was that? Nope, that was on. Sometimes it can get so weird with working out which direction the parking brake's actually engaged. Okay, let's switch my head on here. Now, I will say my other complaint with the aircraft is it's a little heavy. I have a powerful computer. I run a Ryzen 9 5900X and a RTX 3070 Ti with 32 gigs of RAM, which is arguably a decent computer. I run the sim on Ultra. I typically get between 50 and 100 FPS on Ultra, and this is pumping around at 30. Varies to 35 to 40 maybe. Now, typically that happens with heavier systems in an aircraft. With less glass in the cockpit, I'm genuinely shocked, because glass in MSFS has been one of the biggest performance hogs. But in this case, I think it's just complexity and variety of systems. So if you have a slightly worse off computer, this may struggle for you and provide poor performance. Which is unfortunate, but there you go. Now, we should have plenty of room here. This is a 7,500 foot runway, so we'll turn around before the drop in elevation here. Imagine an airline having to back taxi and turn around. Welcome to Alaska. Okay, we'll line up here and get ready to go. Our flaps are set for departure. Love the engine sounds. And we are rolling. Full power. Okay, we're good. Approaching V1. And rotate. Really quite a steep climb out angle on this aircraft. Gear coming up, positive rate. Listen to the engine sound, my god. Loud, huh? Right, flaps are in. And we're turning on course for Valdez. Pull some power here. We're not climbing to too much altitude, but we'll need to get above the mountains. This certainly feels like an airline I'd be much happier to fly hands-on than an Airbus or a Boeing. It's a lot more rustic, I think is the right word to use here, and I like that about it. It feels more... It feels more like you're the pilot, you know? You're not just the human meatbag that sits behind the computer and makes sure it doesn't screw up too badly and start making babies with a toaster. No. And that's what will happen when the awakening of AI occurs, is toasters will become gratification objects to the AI. I'm pretty positive. Less said about the Adeptus Mechanicus, the better. Either way, we're on course here up to the left. Yes, yes, terrain. Welcome to Alaska. That's the standard thing. Quiet. Quiet! No one asked you. I have a warning, but nothing on my annunciator panel. A little bit of nose down trim here to stabilize us, because we're good where we are. In fact, that's the entry to the sound over there, so I'm going to swing us around to the left, and we'll begin our descent straight into Valdez's runway. The aircraft flies very nicely, I will say. Performance and the brightness of the EFB are my only two gripes. The EFB can easily be fixed. The performance, maybe less so. It's a heavy aircraft, so you're going to have to assume there's going to be a lot of complexity in play. The strips there on the windshield for demisting or defrosting, little too thin, so they kind of show very kind of poorly and kind of speckly, but that's the way flight sim works sometimes. I love the windows there. Just the ability to look up out of the cockpit roof and look up at the clouds. It's quite pretty. Texturing is gorgeous, and there's enough room in the seat for a dog, which is important. There we go. Right. So make sure my head's behaving itself. Back off our speeds here. We're approaching too fast. Oh, we're way too fast. So if I get my numbers right, Valdez is down here. Yes, 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 yes. Whine at me all you like. Yeah, we're good. We're perfectly fine here. Maybe a little bit more throttle. It doesn't seem to like me idling out at this speed. Still not quite determined what that buzzer is caused by, but I'm sure I'll learn. Again, these reviews aren't intended to be a comprehensive look at how the whole system functions entirely. There are experts for that out there that can help you with it. My intent with this is to give you a quick, simple overview that allows you to make a decision as to whether you want to learn. And I will stress that. Like any high-fidelity simulation, this is one you must take time to learn. You will not be able to get in this aircraft and fly airline routes unless you put in some time to learn the systems, the controls, the functionality, and/or... What is making that noise? I can never tell. Because nothing's illuminated that should be. We'll find out, I'm sure. But you must invest the time. And that's fine, but that also means you must invest your effort in learning to fly it. Obviously, in some cases, you are able to just get in and fly like I'm doing right now. I'm not a complete idiot, mostly. I just play one on TV. But if all you want to do is basically hop in and fly around and have a little bit of retro airliner time, you can. And this hand flies beautifully. Really beautifully. Okay, we're 5 minutes out from Valdez. There we go. Made it quiet now. So over this ridgeline there should be water below us, and then over this next ridgeline we should be into the sound. We'll be able to drop down and make our approach. But it's the kind of aircraft that makes you want to learn, and I like the fact that you have a good controllability and functionality that doesn't require expert handling and ability to be able to really operate this thing well, or at least competently. Autopilots are relatively simple to work out. The aircraft has good functionality. And performance, again, you're going to have a reasonably good computer. At 38 FPS, this is more than manageable, and I can see where the top of the mountain is, so I'm happy to fly through this cloud. It's below a certain thrust level, it gets quite upset. This is not daunting in the slightest. I'm keeping myself level. And we'll be out the other side in no time. Told you nothing to worry about. Mountain schmountain. Right, as far as I'm aware, Valdez should be down there. Not too close to here.
2500.
Oh, it's over there. Okay, we're good. We'll keep going this way. Next ridgeline. I can't believe I'm flying an airline like a bush plane. But I could almost do that. Obviously you need bigger runways, but the aircraft is more than capable of being flown by hand. It's intuitive, and it's comfortable on the controls too. Yes, again, we're in Alaska. There's going to be terrain ahead. Silence your crap. Thank you. So nice and easy functionality to the aircraft. Let's put the autopilot on for a second. Current course is 311. Make sure that's right. Altitude is fine, so altitude hold on. And we'll put height, heading, and where's the autopilot master switch? It's got to be in here somewhere, right? What's it whining about? Shush. Those are light controls. What are you whining about? Power level, I guess. There's flight director. I don't see the autopilot master. The It's going to be on one of these other panels, and I could look over the manual if I wasn't hand flying the plane at the time. You know. Oh. Boom. Autopilot master. We found it. Trial and error is a wonderful thing. Quiet. So we're engaged on autopilot right now, so it's going to hold me on my course and heading. Altitude's fine. That's about it sound. So obviously we have these warnings for what's engaged. We can see what we've got there. Is the APU still on? That should not be on, I suspect.
Terrain ahead.
Yeah, let's turn you off. Yeah, let's shut that down. Guess we started with the APU, we left the APU running, so the ready for takeoff leaves the APU on, which I believe is not standard flight procedure, so that gets to get shut off now. Fly along with 3 engines, we were a triplane for a while there. Now obviously that engages the... we can engage the tablet over there rather in front of the pilot, so we could go... Oh look, let's put the map there, so it's out of our view here, but we can quickly look over and check it. That's kind of cool. I'll give them credit there. I like that option. So you've got the either side choice for that. And Valdez is going to be down there on our right. So, we'll head over the ridgeline here. We'll start descending. There's the water below us. These, of course, are our hydraulic systems, which obviously control these top surfaces. So, these can be individually armed, disarmed as necessary. In fact, let's do that.
Terrain ahead.
I have got control. It's just delayed and squishy. And I believe we also have an electrical controlled system, which is quite delayed. I'm turning this on again because, dear God, I will need this back. I don't want to look down and see a mountain, but there is an electronic control as well for attitude, which we can control with an electronic servo control onto the tail. Okay, so throttling back here, ignoring the buzzer. Valdez is down there, over there. See the runway lights for us right here? So we're going to turn onto a straight-in approach. We'll slow down first. Got the speed brakes out. Big split tail cone speed brake. And we'll probably pull that back in again because this thing is draggy. Really draggy. Gear coming down. We'll go outside to look at that actually. Slow main gear descent. Quick nose gear. It's a good looking aircraft, isn't it? I really like how this thing looks. There we go. Gear is down. And you'll notice there we've got main is locked. Left main locked. Right main locked. A bit more power here. Got the gear out and slow down early so I can descend quicker. You're going to want quite a decent amount of power on approach. This thing can get a little bit hungy. 15 on the flaps. We're within speed for that. I should have my head back on, shouldn't I? Okay. There's our runway. Airspeed's good. Set the nose, drift around here onto course. We have plenty of room. Like I say, even just flying this manually feels quite nice. It really does. It's a very enjoyable aircraft to operate. Modelling and texturing stunning. I certainly will be flying this again, especially on video, and it's something I'll definitely look forward to actually putting some time into study. Because it is complicated. It's not incredibly intuitive like modern airliners, which I kind of like. Okay, we're a little off, well, we're quite off centre, so I'm just going to straighten up here and get ourselves level, then we can roll onto the right runway heading. .35 degrees on the flaps. Okay, we'll roll our heading now. Airspeed's good. Okay, we're set up roughly here for final. And we'll allow her to bring it in. Okay, we're good. Airspeed's dropping too much, so we'll put it in. A little bit off center here, let me fix that. Will it side slip is an important question to me. Answer is yes, it will. Really comfortably. Okay, oh, hello, too much. A little bit of spring back there. But she'll manage it just fine. Keep some throttle on. 1,000 feet, keep an eye on that. And in we come. A little more power. Just to extend. Probably way straighter and way further out than I needed to be for this aircraft, but I wanted to be careful for this first one. Keep a monitor on the power. Because like I said, she's very draggy when you've got good flaps out and gear out. And off the throttle it will slow down pretty quickly. It's not a super slippery modern airliner. Off course still, slightly. There we go, that's much better. Don't make a good habit of side-slipping airliners. It's not recommended. But I just fly that way. Hi, Valdez. And a distinct lack of trees. Interesting. This area looks a bit weird. Okay, we're looking good. Looking good. Last time I flew into here, it was in a Beech 1900C with one engine that had to be shut down because it was on fire, and it would not feather. So that was a very draggy experience. It was more draggy than a night out at RuPaul's. Okay. Looking good. We're a little below glide slope, but that's fine. It's almost like it's getting louder in here as we get closer to the ground. Coming in nicely. Oh, we're floating hard. But we'll be okay. Touchdown. Oof. I think we've got a flat spot on one of those wheels. It sounds like we've got a flat spot. Okay, flaps coming in. No reverse is necessary there. Plenty of runway for this. Okay, let's get it turned around and we'll take it to parking. So what are my thoughts? It's very expensive, but again, we expect that with this kind of product. The aircraft simulation is beautiful. The features are great. There's a lot of complexity. There are two things I gripe about. The simulation's intensity of performance, which will hit you at bigger city airports, especially. I'm in Alaska, and it's doing this. Imagine it doing it in LA, or in San Francisco, or New York. Anywhere near New York, because, dear God, that is the new Seattle, Portland, Vancouver triangle. There we go. But, otherwise, beyond the brightness on the EFB, and that issue of performance, which I don't think is fixable just by nature of being complex, this is a really nice product. I like it a lot. It's a good-looking aircraft. It behaves very well. There's atmosphere to it, and it feels like an interesting aircraft. I mean, Look at it moving on the suspension here. Look at it bobbling around. It feels like alive. You know, the flat spot of tyre maybe, that rumble. It feels and sounds like a real aircraft. It feels old, I will say. There we go. We'll do that. And we'll kill 2 engines. Wonderful. And we'll quickly grab this. Go to our aircraft page. And we'll pop the passenger door open. While we step outside for a moment. Final thoughts. Worth it if you want to fly this plane. It is a very good rendition. It looks great. It performs great. It's interesting. The sound immersion is fantastic. The simulation is well made. It is a nice aircraft, and I will totally fly this. In fact, I will be taking the time to study it and learn it and fly it. My first impression is absolutely worth every penny if you want to learn it. Thanks for watching. Bye.